Hello again. Once more, welcome back to Leopard Street. Welcome back to the cellar. New printer's running quite nicely. So far I've got that, which is a board controller base, a servo motor, so this is for all the point work and everything I'm doing. It's currently printing me 6 more servo motor bases, so I'm going to see how well that goes. However, that's not today's video. Today's video is back to my old friend, the turntable. Now, if I lift this up, you can see underneath it, there is another bit of purple plastic. I've printed the mount for the stepper motor. What we're going to do is have a little look at what we've got, how it works. I'm going to put it in and we're going to watch it working. I hope. Stick around. This is Leopard Street. Okay, so here we are, the appropriate bit of the layout. Turntable wells there. I'll pan down in a sec. What have we got? So, as I said, I've printed this bit here. It's 2 pieces. There's a base piece and a top plate super glued together. You might be able to see in the middle there is a silver barrel section. This is a coupling. Basically, it's got a 5mm hole at one end, which goes onto the mount of the stepper motor, and a 4mm hole at the other end, which goes onto the metal rod I araldited to the bottom of the turntable deck. The turntable has gained a little piece of orange paint. That tells me the end where the magnet is. It also means I can tell one end from the other visually. And it's got a little blob of orange paint. The sensor isn't fitted yet. That's where it will go. So, that's set up. I've got a little Arduino set up to control it. I didn't film putting some screws into a piece of wood to hold the thing. But, let's put it in the hole, power it up and see what it does. So if I tilt you down slightly, there we go. I've got a new camera mount as well, by the way, which may or may not be helping here. We shall see. Anyway, so there we have a hole. And I've got these things I printed around it earlier. Now, I'm not going to fit the sensor just yet, but all the rest of this... there's an Arduino that controls this. It's got its own little motor control board, all of which is from the little video I did on stepper motors. So that can just drop down there out the way. Right, and what we do is we take this and we put it into the hole. And I'm going to put these mounting rings around it because they will hold the height correctly. And I just press it down like that. Now, well, this is not powered down. I can actually turn this by hand. I'm not going to normally. There is a little cutout. These side pieces here have this little notch. This is where the sensor will sit. So I need to get it positioned exactly which way round and whatever it's going to go. I'm going to do that at some point. I'm not going to be gluing it in yet because I need to unplug it. I need to take the thing out. I need to take it apart. I need to paint it. Right, what I need to do, carefully, I'm just positioning some things under here. At the moment, it's powered off a USB lead because it's being powered by the Arduino. That's all going to change. It's going to be powered by a direct 5-volt feed. So I'm going to plug this in and we'll see if it works. See if it switches on. And there we go. Now, that may not look terribly impressive. To be honest, I'm quite impressed with it because it's working. I can control the speed. At the moment, literally all this does is go 360 degrees that way, then 360 degrees back again. Doesn't do anything else. Well, I say it doesn't do anything else. It will respond to the sensor. If I put the hall sensor near the magnet end, it will detect it and a light comes on, but that's all underneath here. Sorry, a light goes off. I've got it wired backwards currently, so the light's on normally. But the idea is this will come around here. It'll get to this point where the things are, and it'll go, you're in position. It'll recognise that. It doesn't at the moment. It just goes round and round. The speed is set at the moment in software. It's sort of hard-coded, but I can cope. And what we're going to have, I'll just get a little piece of track here. See if I can just extend its rails slightly. A little bit more. The table kit actually comes with some little... Yeah, that'll do. Just drag the thing out. Yeah, it's got... yeah, there we go. The idea is that will sort of sit, I don't know, probably about there. And the trains can come in. It's on a slight angle at the moment because I don't have the cork under it. But it'll come around here. I'll have to get this all lined up nicely. Obviously, that's where it's got its 0 point, so it missed that at the moment. And there'll be another one over here going off under where the camera is. So, now the basic hardware works. Now the work starts. What I need to do is do some more mounting brackets. I need to mount... If I just unplug this. Yeah. Lift it up, and again, we'll have a little look at what we've got here. So if I lift this up and flip it over, why not? Flip the other way up, like so. And then, of course, all the mounting stuff has just fell through the hole. Yeah, that's, welcome to my life. Anyway, right. This is coming up here. Now, I know, Kelly, I've read your comments about you don't need a turntable, you can run locos backwards. Yeah, I know. And I've got a reversing loop, so I could actually run them out light engine, turn them around on the reversing loop and bring them back up. That sort of requires me to have the reversing loop with a clear road for them to do it in, which I probably won't have most of the time. So, yeah, I'm using a turntable. That's all tangled up now, fairly obviously, because it's a piece of wire, and if anyone who's ever worked with pieces of wires know they tangle up. So what I need to do, put the USB lead back on here so it doesn't pull everything off onto the floor. I need to mount this. I need to print a little mounting block for this little board. Pan up again, it might be a bit easier. And it'll be fairly simple. It'll probably be purple plastic, and it'll just sit on here. Then what I'll do is I'll tie wrap that cable so it stays nice and short, stays out of the way. Done. I've got the 2-track power lines. These are also trapped under it. These need to be brought to near the edge somewhere, terminated in a screw connector or some sort of plug and socket arrangement, just so I can plug the power in, and it's nice and easy to do. The Arduino that's here, it won't be this one, it'll be another one. And it won't be on strip breadboard either, it'll be on a little circuit board. Indeed, you may even just get some mountings. I might just put some little terminals and solder the wires directly to the Arduino. There's not much to it. So I've got 4 wires that control this. It's going to gain a relay. There is a little jumper connector here that I can remove. One of these little tiny black things that connects these 2 pins. You can connect a switch there. When the switch is closed, the motor has power. When the switch isn't closed, so you open the switch, the motor doesn't have power. A thought occurred. If this is installed and a train is half on and half off it, and it powers on, say the layout's got a short circuit and it powers on, it'll try and turn to home itself eventually. I want the ability to switch that off. I also, because the motor stays drawing current even when it's not moving to hold the thing in place. Now, this turntable is going to spend the vast majority of its time sitting still. So what I'm going to do is put a relay so I can turn this motor off. So unless I want the thing to turn, it draws no power. It's not that I give a damn really about the amount of power it draws. It's just the motor gets warm. It doesn't get hot, but it gets warm and it'll soften things over time. So I'm going to keep that. So that'll need mounting. That'll need wiring up. There is going to be a display board connected to this. I'm going to use a 595 shift register. I'll have a look at those in another video. Connected to a display which is going to go up here somewhere, or possibly out the back here, or maybe down here somewhere. The idea is somewhere I can see it from over there when I'm controlling the thing. And it will have one of the 7-segment displays. If you've seen them, they use 8 segments. There's 7 segments for the number, and there's 1 for a dot. I won't connect the dot, because what I'm going to use a green display and put a red LED next to it. The idea being, let's scroll that back up. The idea being, if the thing is in a suitable position I can drive onto it, there'll be a number showing, telling me which position it's in. And if it's not in a position I can drive onto it, that'll go blank and a red light will be on. That's the idea. So there's a few more bits and pieces I need to do with this. This is just a quick update on this, of the turntable. The fact I've actually got the basics of it working. As you can probably see from this here, there is a bit of a gap between that motor mount and the base. Self-inflicted wound. The holes in the base aren't wide enough for the screws I'm using. Same with the motor bracket at the top. So I'm going to redesign it. I'm going to make the holes a little bit bigger. I'm going to reprint another one and I'm going to fit that. I'm also going to make sure it levels properly, because at the moment it's slightly offset because one of the screws is in a bit further than the other. So I want to get it so it sits flush with the plywood. The other thing I've got to do, which I'm hoping will be relatively straightforward to do, if I just move this out of the way, I can show you. This is the well. So as you can see, there are some tracks over here. Oh, something stuck to the back of my phone. Get rid of that. If I can pick the thing up. A little bit of wire stuck to the back of my phone. Yeah, so I said I've got to put a keep out zone here so that the electronics all sit here. It's all going to be stuck to the bottom of the turntable deck. That's the idea. So, yeah, it's all going to be fixed to the bottom of this. This is going to sit in a hole. These are going to be glued to the side of the turntable. I've got the little pocket. In fact, there's actually one thing I do want to check on while I've got the thing here and I remember, is does the sensor, which is this little thing here, fit into the pocket? Yes, it does. That was something I needed to check. That actually means I can glue these on now. Now I know that fits. Although I do need to a little bit of cleaning up work on them so they fit on properly. Yeah. These are just spacers. So yeah, I've got to get a little circuit board built. Obviously, it's not going to be on breadboard. It's all going to be connected properly. Be nice and reliable. These little Arduinos can't talk to my MQTT controller. They have no internet capability, no Wi-Fi capability. They have a serial port. So what I'm going to do, I've got 2 choices. I can either leave the USB lead plugged in and control it that way, which I don't really want to do, or this board has an ESP32 microcontroller, and what I'll probably do is hook this to that, so that sends this a signal. Very, very simple. DCCEX, the people behind that, have a turntable controller piece of software, which I thought about using, but I want the display indicator and bits and pieces added to it. So, yeah. Anyway, that was that. It's just a quick video to show the turntable, such as it is, largely works. I want this in. The rest of the layout is a bit cluttered, but if I can get this turntable controller or this turntable in, let's remove some of the loose bits here so I'm not trapping anything. Let's sit the thing down. Yeah, I'm going to be ordering some more track fairly soon. Next couple of weeks, I've got a few bits to do down there. And to be honest, until I'm ready to use more track, I'm not going to order it because it turns up in a day or two. It's not that big a deal. So I'm going to do that. Coming up in the next few videos, down here, we're going to be doing some block detection work. Now, I've had a request to look at what I'm doing. The hardware I'm using, which are obviously the Merg DTC2s, which are these little beasties. This one's in kit form. I've got a couple of ready-made ones I'm going to be using for over there, so I'm not going to be going through how to build those just yet. But also, why the blocks are what they are. It's like on this section here, I've got a piece of track that comes in, it's on the approach, it comes up underneath all of this clutter. because it comes up under all of this clutter. It really is the curse of Leopard Street. This section comes round and it stops where that block of wood is. There's a few inches beyond that, then it's into a double slip. As I've mentioned in previous videos, the that section there, so this bit to here is a section, and the idea is the train will rumble in here. The control software knows it's here. It trips this one. It now not only knows it's in this bit of track, but it knows it's near the end, so it can say stop. Because here, where this candle is going to be a signal. So it'll rumble up and it'll stop. But I'm going to go through all of that in another video. I wanted the turntable in because when I do the next bit of track, which is going to have a double slip here and another point, there's going to be a track that comes back down here to the turntable. And before I can lay that track, the turntable's got to be in. So I wanted to get that done first. So yeah. Also coming up, I have got position sensors, which I'm actually going to have some of over here and some down there. So that's not block detection, that is position detection. If you saw the videos I did on the entrance to the fiddle yard, reversing loop with the infrared beam, very similar to that. It says at this point on the track there is something. Don't know what. Could be a loco, could be a wagon, could be anything. Don't know, don't care. There is something there. Need some of them for down the far end because as I'm standing here, that's 12 foot away. So I can see the A1 that's parked, the A2 that's parked all the way down there. I couldn't tell you from here how close it is to the buffers, so I'm going to have a sensor that tells me. I've also been playing with magnets for uncoupling. Now, if we just come down to the other end of the layout, it's maybe a little bit easier to to show. This is again something that's going to be coming up in the near future because I thought I had this solved and then I realized I haven't. So yeah, here we have a little gap. Now what I need about here is an uncoupler of some sort. Now this one, these are all going to be KDs. Short term I'm going to get some of the Pico uncoupling ramps because obviously none of this is KD equipped yet. Printer's making weird noises. Sprung buffers. Quality. Sorry, Sam. Anyway. So this one here can be a permanent magnet. Now I've got, if I can just put the camera down, I have got a load of rare earth magnets for playing with KD. Now this is what the wagons are over here for. I've been playing with, well, how do I make this work? And these are 3mm cube rare earth neodymium, I think it's called, magnets. And they will do the job, but I need to stack them quite high, like 6mm high. I've got some more powerful ones coming, which I'm going to use. And they're going at this end, but I also need them at this end. Because as the shunting engine brings the coaches in, it needs to disconnect and go away. I thought I'll just put another magnet there. And then when the thing's under tension as the train pulls out, it'll be fine. But if it goes out slowly, at the wrong point in time, it's going to start dropping coaches. So I'm going to have another think. I think what I'm going to end up with on that road, the arrival road on the suburban side, which is months away, and on this road here, which is Platform 1's road, which has got about 4 foot of run. It's just a parcels bay, and there'll be a bit of space at the end that's a head shunt. That's also going to need an uncoupler. I think they're going to have to be the KD electromagnets, which Charlie at Chadwick's used. I'd think about having a little trapdoor. So like that sits on the trapdoor, and I have a little servo that lowers it to bring it away from the track and pushes it back up. I'm listening to my inner Kelly at this point. There's a product on the market that does what I'm trying to do. Does it well, does it reliably. Just buy it. Stop trying to build things to solve problems that other people have already solved. So yeah, I'm going to be using pre-bought electromagnetic uncouplers. They're not cheap. They're about 30 quid each, 30, 35 quid each. I don't need very many of them. And I'll take it for reliability. But that's what I've been doing. The other thing, obviously, I've got to do is again clear the clutter. Some of this is because with obviously putting the new printer in, I had to move stuff off the desk onto something, so it all came over here. Yeah. Anyway, that's it for this video. Fairly short one. Enjoy the rest of your week. I've looking at a wagon. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure when this one is going to go out, but the problem with 3D printing is solved. So I can now get back to making the brackets, make all the little controller pieces. So next one, I promise, is going to be block detection. We're going to have a little look at the how, what, where, when, why bother, what it gives you, why even if you're not using automation, it can actually be quite a useful thing to have. So yeah, that's coming up. Meantime, enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.